If you guys want to get in the zone, just like I do before stepping on the cart, either for a testing session or for the race, maybe even just for quali, if you want to get in the zone and in the Zen mode, as I like to call it, then these five tips and five basically activities are definitely going to help you to get into the zone. All right, and for sure, if you can get into the zone, you're definitely gonna get in set better lap times and get better results. But first of all, what do I mean with getting the zone and like having this sort of Zen mode? All right, probably you've already seen some movies or some videos or heard stories about Zen. Basically the concept of Zen starts from the Buddhist the Buddhist meditation practice. So it basically is when you are so focused and you're so you know you're just in the zone, basically, or you're so focused that you are forgetting about everything else around you, and you're directing all your attention towards a single goal, and you'll forget about the past, you forget about the future. There's no noise around you. It's like you're in a complete bubble, and you're super just focus into what you're going to be doing ahead. And this is really like the key flow state that you want to develop, and all the athletes at the top level are being able to develop. And if you want to become one of those, and if you want to become the number one in the world at what you do, which is in this case karting, if you want to do that, you gotta make sure you enter this state of flow, this Zen mode. And it's not something which is going to happen to you automatically. You need to put deliberate practice and deliberate effort into achieving that, because it's not going to happen automatically, I'm telling you. So here's five techniques basically. I like to do, and I like to stack also together, not just they will not always be done individually. All right, they can always stack one of the other. And the first one that you probably have already been doing by yourself, and maybe you're not doing it consciously, you're just doing it because you like it. But one of the easiest things to do to get in the zone is to do just like I do. Get these uh, you know you know noise canceling headphones, like the Air Max from Apple, but you can get different ones. And this one basically, okay, so the number one is basically music, but it's not just music. Actually, it's noise canceling. That's the thing, because once you put these you know these amazing headphones on, you're definitely going to not feel any noise around you. And it's crazy. And if you press this button over here, it's gonna be making even more noise canceling. So already by putting them on, they're gonna remove some noise. But if you actually click on them, it's gonna cancel that noise almost completely. And it's unbelievable. I use it all the time. And I mean, all the time, whenever I go driving, because unfortunately lately I haven't been able to find the time for that. Too busy with all the activities at Babe Race, and obviously here at Senndit. But yeah, I every time I get to, even if it's just a random test day and there's nobody else on track, it's just me, I really want to use these ones, because they are helping me to really just block out the distraction, block out the noise, and they help me to focus right before getting into my card. And I like to listen to music, but to be honest, I don't listen to much music. I actually sometimes just like just staying completely by myself, and then listening to my breath, just going through my just doing through my thoughts. I just don't want to hear the external noise from other mechanics around me, other drivers around me. I like anything in the paddock. I just, for those 20 minutes before driving, I want to try to block myself out. And this is going to help you. And you will see in the other task below that you can stack them. For example, you can stack them with number two. What do you mean by stacking? Stacking is doing one thing and the other at the same time. For example, so we said music is the number one, which is very easy, everyone can do. You don't necessarily need like fancy Air Max like these ones that cost, I don't know, like my girlfriend gifted it to me. Actually, it was like 300, for like 400 euros or something. So they're quite expensive, but you can get for cheaper ones. You can even just use the other AirPods. But to be honest, the great thing about these ones is that they are noise canceling, but you can get other headphones that are noise canceling. I think the fact that are noise canceling are key, because if you just get random AirPods like that, they're not gonna be too great because they will not cancel the noise. So if somebody is doing noise around you, they will still distract you. At the end of the day, the only reason why you want to block out noise is because you want to block out distractions. Now, if you ask me what kind of music I like to listen to, I like to listen to like Eminem, all right, a bit of Drake, but just stuff that gets me in the rhythm. Okay, I love Eminem because if I listen to Not Afraid, for example, like with that kind of like, there are a few songs they are really getting me in the zone, and they've done that for times and times and times again. And yeah, I mean, it's just been it's just been a repetition. It's been like engraved in myself, and I just feel like now it's like an on and off switch. When I listen to few like certain songs, they create some sort of just like mood, and just like they get me into the zone. Honestly, that's like that. It's yeah, it's just like a series of habits that get me in the zone and like ready to shoot, ready to kill, sports sense, of course. Um don't get me in word by word, but that's what we say in sports. But then number two, which is connected to the first one, but a little bit more specific, is called visualization. Now, you probably know what I talk with visualization. This is not really meditation. Visualization is basically, you probably have seen this from F1 drivers like Verstappen. You've seen other drivers as well doing this kind of exercise. Basically, visualizations mean you're like either with headphones on or without. I like to do with headphones on, not necessarily listening to music, but just like to block out distractions, because I like to just visualize the perfect lap. So basically, I just held on the steering wheel most of the times. I don't have a steering wheel here, otherwise I would do that. But yeah, I would hold the steering wheel. I would just have AirPods on, okay, Air Max, and I would just visualize, all right, just going, I would just do everything that it's required for me to do a perfect lap. For example, I'm going through the gears in KZ, I'm going down the gears, I'm like shifting even my body as I have to. I'm going on a throttle the same way. I'm trying to go up the gears. I'm trying to listen in my head the sound of the gears of the engine, etc. I try to really like just do the exactly same things that I would do in a optimal lap. And yeah, I feel this is just something that is easy to do. It's gonna take what about like 5 minutes of your time. I'm not asking you to do well. I'm not asking you anything. I'm just telling you what is working for me. In my case, it works for me to do like 5 to 10 minutes max before a session, and not only I do that to just focus on getting ready for the next session, but I also like to do to correct the mistakes that I did in the previous session. For example, if I finish the session, I do data or watch my own videos, and I notice that I'm losing time in a specific corner. After that, I'm like, okay, I know where I'm losing. Then I'm gonna go and do the visualization exercise, just because I feel that by doing so, I create some sort of muscle memory, and I'm like programming myself so that when I go out, I know exactly what I need to fix. And I'm pretty sure most of the F1 drivers do, and it's just super, super effective. I mean, I use visualization a lot. And if you watch the documentary from Kimi Antonelli, which is on Netflix, it's called The Seat. You will see that he also mentions that he visualizes a lot, and that's what I also do a lot. I mean, when I was racing full time, I would visualize everything, like even my warm up laps, my just starting procedure, my overtakes, etc. I would visualize pretty much as possible. Think about it. Visualization is like you're using your brain, your just brain capacity as a simulator, as a mental simulator. So you can simulate stuff. You can simulate scenarios. Oh, if I have to, if everybody defends, then I can try to do this. If everybody's open, I can try to do that. If the car is sliding, I can try to do this. If the car is too grippy, I can try to do that. I mean, if I have a gap in turn one, I can do this. If they're all close behind me, I gotta do that. Stuff like that. I visualize a lot different scenarios, especially in the race. But I also want to always visualize the perfect lap, because I think you're never good enough to say that you don't need visualization. Everyone needs it. If F1 drivers like Verstappen, those goats of motorsport, needs to do visualization, it means all of us humans, let's say, below them, below max, which is, I guess, superhuman, all of us, we should do visualization too. If he does it, then all of us, by definition, we should do it. Then, so this one is really the thing that probably of all of these five is that gives me the most goosebumps. It's really effective, but you need to get used to it. At first, it's gonna feel weird, like you will not be, but after that, once you're able to visualize perfectly in your brain, like corner by corner, like literally the sound of the engine, the vibration on your seat, everything, like every little bump, you need to try to visualize as much as possible. The braking, like you need to try to do that. Try to get even yourself in a seat, either in your cart or try to get in another seat, like just a random seat, as long as you have a steering wheel, a seat, some headphones on. Another thing I like to do, which is really good, you should try, is for example, I use my headphones, and in my headphones, instead of having music, I just have my onboard lap. So I'm like having my onboard lap in the background, like for like 10 minutes long session, and I'm just like, I know the noise, so I know where basically the noise is directing me to each corner. So it's more like a guided meditation, like it's more of a guided visualization sort of thing, and I like it a lot. Number three is reaction times. Now, you have probably seen a lot of drivers in F1 doing those. Okay, I feel reaction times are extremely useful. Well, I mean, reaction times, it's it's reaction times. At the end of the day, we all have them. Some of us have more developed and more trained reaction times. We all have reaction times. I mean, of course, by definition, but you can train them. So when I talk about reaction times, is reaction time exercises actually. So reaction time exercises. So I mean things like, the tennis ball exercise. For example, you can have someone standing in front of you, and he has, one ball, and he is basically going to throw the ball, and you need to know on the no, you're actually going to have two balls, and you're going to need to know where he's going to throw it. So you need to know where which ball to catch based on the reaction time. That's one of the very important exercise, which is the easiest way to do. You just go to Decathlon or anywhere on Amazon. You just buy two tennis balls for like 2 years or something. You just buy the balls, and you make sure that somebody is standing in front of you, and they do this exercise. It's easy to catch. Like, you need to get used to catch as quickly as possible, and obviously you're gonna get better and better. You'll see. Then another one I really like a lot is the reaction times on the wall. For example, you can do brands like BlazeBot, or you can also use other brands like Metis Rect. There's different ones, but I mean, at the end of the day, the only goal is to do some reaction time, so that you get your adrenaline, because you get some adrenaline from that. You just start to go into like race mode. You start to be like, okay, channeling your attention, and by definition, when you're focusing on reaction times, you don't have the time to distract yourselves with any other thing. For example, like playing with your phone, or just like watching TikTok, or just like messing around with your teammates, etc. So by definition, when you're doing an activity like this, it forces you to focus, which is great. Okay, number four, which I like to do a lot, is watching my onboard videos, and I would add telemetry. Okay, so you will be like, oh, but Alessio, isn't this like part of the daily routine of the track? Yes and no. I mean, like, you can consider like the onboard videos. Yes, like, first of all, you can watch your onboard videos by with your coach, with your data guy, like with your mechanic. But then I like to watch it by myself, or sometimes what I do is quite funny. Like, sometimes I watch it by myself, then I watch it with somebody else, be my mechanic, and then I watch it again by myself before the session. So it's a bit like that. But I like to watch onboards and videos, and data analysis. I just do my own data on Race Studio. Obviously, I've got so much experience by doing data with all my drivers at Baby Race. Is that it's just like second nature for me. I just enjoy it, and it's just like an obsession for me to find lap time every session. So for me, it's just like. But I encourage you to try. It's not difficult. If you want, drop me a comment. We can try to start a series of videos where I can walk you step by step how to analyze data. I think it will be very cool. If you guys want that, let me know. I will get into it. Please also make me a favor. If you got all the way through this video, consider subscribing, because right now the stats say that 93% of you guys watching videos right now actively are not subscribed. And since I have got a challenge with my girlfriend that basically she thinks that this YouTube thing is just worthless, and I'm just like wasting my time, but I disagree with her. But I need you guys to help me prove her wrong. So by the end of the summer, I made a bet with her that I would get to 1,000 subscriber. Now we are like 250 or something. But yeah, it would be great that if you believe in what I'm sharing with you, and if you take some value, yeah, consider subscribing. It will mean the world to me. Anyways, consider watching all more videos right before the session, 10 minutes before the session, even though you may have watched them before, because by doing so, yeah, it's gonna channel into what you have to do basically for the session. And again, you can also watch the benchmark videos from like some teammates or somebody else from other sessions from other days. But at least like watching videos from fast drivers or from yourself or fast sessions, by watching whether your video or other drivers' videos, but just watching something before the session, I think it forces you to focus. All of these activities are kind of forcing you to focus, except listening to music, which is more like a laid back, chilled way to focus. All the others are requiring your active participation. And number 5, which is one a bit more, let's say, complicated, but again, it's not that complicated. It's gonna be just about a rhythm, like building a rhythm, building a routine around it, and it basically is quite close to visualization, but it's a little bit different. And then we're talking about breathing exercises. Now, breathing exercises is basically um, you know using your breath work. All right, so it's like using your breathing in a way that actually relaxes you and focuses you. So let me actually finish this off. I'm having a hard time multitasking. But yeah, well, breathing exercises. I can just leave breathing, because otherwise it looks quite quite unprofessional. But yeah, breathing exercises. So what I mean by that, there's a bunch of different breathing exercises. But we are all the time breathing subconsciously, thankfully. Otherwise, we would probably be all dead in the night. If we wouldn't have a automatic system that made us breathe, we would all be dead. Thankfully, we have this autonomous system that makes us breathe. But the problem is that when we breathe by ourselves, basically autonomously, when we let our, let's say, body decide how to breathe and when to breathe, we are most of the times not breathing enough. We're not breathing properly, and well, that's a long story, but anyways, unless you're like running, unless you're like doing cardio, but anyways, we are not getting as much air and oxygen. And yes, we are, but we could get more. And to be honest, if we breathe a lot and we breathe also with your diaphragm, now it's like breathing with your diaphragm basically means like breathing with your belly. Like you can see, instead of like expanding your lungs, that's basically breathing normally, what we are doing, like basically 24/7. But a different type of breathing is breathing with your diaphragm, which basically means you're trying to like expand your belly instead of like expanding your lungs. And by doing so, you actually, it's been scientifically proven that you actually increase massively your like feel good hormones and like relaxation hormones. And as well, you also increase some sort of levels of melatonin. And that's basically that's gonna also help you to sleep well better at night. So I also highly encourage you to do these breathing exercises if you're having a hard time to sleep. But again, I'm not suggesting you to do these breathing exercises because you want to sleep before driving the car, but obviously we want to be alert. But guys, there's one thing that is very important, and it's the level of arousal. Okay, there is an inverted curve. Okay, so you have to think about arousal is basically your level of awareness, like of awakeness. If you are too low, so basically it's like that, the level of, this is the maximum level of arousal, and then if it's like, this is the peak, so this is the peak performance. Okay, let's say this is performance and this is arousal. Okay, this is performance and this is arousal. Okay, so if you have too much arousal, so if you're too active, too alert, it's gonna be bad, equally bad as having too little arousal. So if you're like sleepy and you're like, just got out of bed and you're like, oh, where am I, stuff like that. So the goal would be to be at the peak level of arousal, which means you're like just like awake and alert enough. This is like I learned in sport psychology books, and it's performance books. This is great. I didn't, yeah, I couldn't believe it at first, but like, this is true. Well, I realized it because when you drive, when you're about to drive and you're sitting in the pre-grid, you want to be activated mentally, but not too active. Like you don't want to be hyperactive, because if you are hyperactive and you have had lots of coffees, you're probably gonna be doing like over pushing mistake. You're gonna be doing like creating, like you're being probably too confident. You're gonna maybe like do some crazy stuff, and probably you're gonna be too scrappy with your steering wheel, etc. Whereas if you are like on the low side, if you're on 2 liter, if your arousal is so low that you're feeling sleepy, you're just basically going to have the slow reaction times. You're just gonna be like a turtle on wheels, just like very slow in your reaction times. You will not take risks, etc. But equally, as I said, you don't want to be on the high end of the arousal. So the goal is to be just at the sweet spot. And I feel like as a driver, myself especially, I was too much on the you know on this high side. Let's say I was too much on this side, let's say on the high arousal side. And so one really good way for me to go on the lower arousal side, so to make me more calm, to make me more relaxed, basically to block my enthusiasms, basically. One of the best and most effective ways to get me from, let's say, there to here, which was optimal, it was by doing breathing exercises, because that's essentially it. If you're already feeling sleepy and you're like already like doing breathing exercises, is only going to make you worse. So if you're like here and you're like already in low arousal and you do this kind of breathing exercises, you're going to be even sleepier and it's not going to be good. But since most drivers are like hyperactive, it's actually going to serve them well. So if you are below, like beyond the arousal, and you're like here or here or here, it's just going to serve you so well. And besides that, besides just getting you into the optimal arousal state, it's just going to calm your brain. It's gonna get you really like yeah, it's just gonna get you so focused, and it's gonna remove all distractions. Because again, once you're hyperactive, you're gonna start to have so many thoughts in your brain, and it's just like you're gonna be oh, what is my mechanic gonna say, what is my dad's gonna say, what if they overtake me in the back, what do I do, what if I if my engine is not good, what if my chassis is not good, what if my tires blew up, what if my engine blows up. When you're hyperactive, you start and have too much arousal, you start having all these crazy thoughts, but that's not good. Okay, it's okay to be a little bit of having a little bit of paranoia and trying to think about things that different scenarios, what could happen. Yes, makes sense. I just told you before, and it's the point about visualization, but the reality is that you don't want to overdo it. So if you put all these things together, guys, including breathing exercises, you can search them on Google or on ChatGPT or anywhere you like to get your information from. You can just ask to get some personal breathing exercise before driving. I like to do the so-called box breathing. It's the easiest one, and that basically is like 5 seconds of breathing in, 5 seconds of holding with full breath, and then 5 seconds breathing out, and then 5 seconds holding, and repeat the same process. So it's like 20 seconds per cycle, 5, 5, 5, and 5. And basically you do 3 cycles per minute. So you do like 5 seconds, then you hold for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and you breathe in again for 5 seconds. Now, I didn't count them properly. I'm just giving an example. That is a great way for me. And again, try to do that with your belly. So it's called diaphragm breathing. And by doing so, you're going to stimulate more relax, hormones. And it's just, you're going to feel more relaxed, and you're going to reduce your arousal. And you're just going to be ready to get in the zone, get in the flow. Yeah. And we all need this, guys. We all need this. And I like to do this with my eyes closed. If you go and rewatch my past races when I was standing on the grid, I would be like just the 3 minutes before the session, like when you are supposed to get into the kart and they show you the 3 minute sign on the final. I'm just sitting there with my visor down, and I'm just like with my eyes closed, and I'm just breathing. I'm just breathing. And then like 1 minute before, I just feel super, I just open up my eyes again, and I'm just super ready to go. I feel like I'm focused. I have the optimal arousal state. Obviously, I don't feel like if I don't feel very active, I will not do as much excess like breathing. But if I feel, for example, too hyperactive, I will do a little bit more. You know what I mean? That if you are into meditation, those sort of things, you can do also a bit of that before the session. But again, I don't think you should think about too much about that. Like doing a bit of breathing exercise just right before the session is going to get you into that Zen mode, maximum focus, peak performance state, and I'm sure it's going to help you so much. If you have any questions, or give me like your opinion on what you think of this, have you ever tried any of these things? Would you like to try? I mean, let me know once you try these things. How's your feedback? I will be very interested in hearing your feedback and replying to your comments. And if you think there's something else that I've missed from this list and you find so much value and it's helping you so much to get focused, please add them in the comments. Like, I cannot wait to hear them, because yeah, I mean, you can help other drivers in the community, but also I would personally be super interested, and I will thank you for just sharing more of the tasks, obviously, you don't want to have too many activities, but it's like you have a menu where you can pick and choose. And once you build your routine, it's gonna be great. I had a driver 2 days ago in a race at Lonato in the Yami Series, where I was telling him the exact same thing. I was like, mate, you're such a fast driver, you're such a good driver, but you need to try to get more focus before each session, because it's a bit of a roller coaster, your performance. It's not very stable. Some sessions you're amazing, some session you're driving quite poorly. So you gotta make sure you are all the time at your peak performance state, because I think the biggest crime in racing is not being able to achieve your fullest performance, fullest potential, basically. And it's a pity to lose performance because you're getting distracted, because you're not focused, because you're doing other activities that are not gonna help you get closer to your goal, which is winning. So yeah, I hope that you are gonna, yeah, get some value out of it, and let me know how it goes.